Mic check, mic check. Hey, welcome in everybody. We haven't gone live in a couple of weeks. I've just been doing breakdown videos. But we're back at it for this week. Welcome in. Hope everybody had a great weekend. In this video, if you've never attended these live streams before, what I'm going to be doing is breaking down my top stock picks for tomorrow. I'll talk about some side charts that have potential, and then I will be taking charting requests from you all. So I'm just going to jump right into it. What an amazing breakout here that we've had on /ES. This is the future that SPY follows and basically gauges the sentiment of the overall market. And ever since we've broken this downtrend, I mean, it's been amazing trading on the way up. A lot of my server members kind of got the hint that, hey, we're making new highs, new all-time highs. Start sizing up. And there's been some insane gains from the server members. Really this, the past couple of weeks, but last week especially, we were just nailing plays left and right. All right, so as for the watch list for tomorrow, this is going to be my main chart watch list. The first one is ABNB. That's Airbnb. All right, I'm on the daily chart time frame here. I usually will start my analysis on the daily chart time frame. Before I go any further, though, I must let you all know that I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. Everything here is just my opinion. All right, so Airbnb broke out of this pennant pattern and then continued to run on earnings, causing this gap up right here. That's that gray shaded area, a gap disconnect between that candle and that candle. On positive news, right? So it's run up, it broke the $200 whole number and met resistance at like 203.5. From where it's currently trading at now, I think that this still has potential to run to 210 should it continue. And I mean, it's just now starting up, it seems. So that gives us a profit margin overhead of about 3.12%. So for Airbnb, what I'm looking for tomorrow is a continuation play to the top side. So it'll be a long idea over 203.5, but it has to hold up over 200. All right, so whole numbers often act as natural points of support and resistance within the market. So for Airbnb, for me to remain bullish on Airbnb going into tomorrow, it has to hold up over 200. All right, and if it does, I'll look at maybe taking a possible dip entry off of 200 for the move back up to the top side. But yeah, I mean, if it fails to hold 200 and pulls back, that's fine. It just means that there's no continuation trade possible on that for tomorrow. All right, so Airbnb, number one on the watch list for tomorrow. These are in no particular order, by the way. Just looking for a continuation play over 203.5. Number two, QCOM, also a gap up following the earnings report. We caught this run right here at the end of last week. Huge run. And I think I saw a couple of members posting like 200+% on this. Actually, I think there was one that had like 600 or 700% on this. It was, yeah, some crazy gains there. QCOM is now, well, it was into the all-time highs up here at 168.5, but has since pulled back, and that's kind of what you want to see. When a stock pushes up this much, you want to see some sort of pullback. I mean, from the low all the way up to the high, we're looking at an 8% day. So a little bit of a pullback there is welcome. I'm going to flip to the 5-minute time frame and actually show you this. This looks really healthy. So a crazy run up, and then the kind of pullback consolidation into the close, holding most of the gains for the day. So from here, we are looking for the run back up to the all-time highs, but we're not waiting for this to get there before we take an entry. So at this point, we kind of have these lower highs being formed, right? And you can almost argue, well, yeah, that looks like a bull flag pattern shaping up right there. So since that's the case, we don't need to wait for this to get back up to 168.5 before we take an entry on it. It's going to depend on the opening price, but the moment that it breaks this downtrend, aka the moment that this starts to put in higher highs, we can look to take it long the moment that it does that, with a stop placed, at whatever recent low it's made, so 163 or 164. I'm looking for either a break of 165 or 166. I think 166 is extra confirmation. A break of 165 I would feel comfortable with taking for the run up to these highs up here, 168.5. Hopefully it runs beyond that, but look, that profit margin there from 165 to 168.5 is still over 2%, which is great. That's exactly what we want. So QCOM is a continuation idea over the highs, but we're mainly looking for the early entry for the run up to 168.5, up to the highs. If we get a break of that, we'll reassess the position and maybe add into it over the recent highs, but we need to get there first, right? So one step at a time. QCOM, long idea over 165, 166 will depend on the opening price. Number 3 on the main chart watch list for tomorrow will be Boeing. Boeing is actually at a very, very interesting point right here. So let me just show you this this level of resistance. If I drew a trend line from the peak of the most recent run, connecting these lower highs all the way down, I mean, we're right at that level of resistance right now, right? So it'll be interesting to see what Boeing decides to do here, because we don't have a true break of this downtrend until we get a break over $230. But from where we're at up to 230, there's still plenty of room for this to run, right? And as far as profit margin goes, again, we're looking for that 2% magic number. We're at about 2.5% right there. What I like about Boeing is that it's now reclaimed not only the 50 EMA, that's that green dotted line, but it's also reclaimed this 200 EMA, and it has plenty of topside room to go, right? It kind of stopped making these lower lows and found support down here at around 205, and so maybe, just maybe, if we time this right, we could be getting a break of this overall downtrend. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. One step at a time, though. We're looking for the trade over 225 up to 230. And then if we get a break of 230 this week, this probably stays on the watch list all week long. So long as it's continuing to make new recent highs. But yeah, for tomorrow, long idea over 225 with the price target of 230 in mind. It was kind of... Boeing was one that I actually, before we got this pop move right here, I was watching Boeing because I was like, yeah, this is a lot of selling pressure right here. So I saw this move happen. I don't think we traded it that day. But since that move happened, it didn't do a whole lot, right? And so I was like, well, wait a minute. That's looking like a little bull flag to me right there. And so I had put it on the watch list for this move here the day prior, and then there was that... news that came out on it, right? So you see the big volume there. News came out pushing the stock higher, and it's just kind of like an extra confirmation for us that not only was our analysis correct, but it was a case of where those technicals met the fundamentals, and so we just got a larger than expected day on Boeing. I love when that kind of thing happens. All right, next one on the watch list will be Pinterest. PINS. So really beaten up here on the daily chart time frame. We've got a double gap down, one gap here and another gap down here. I'll delete these lines because they're not really all that relevant. So double gap down on Pinterest, and I mean it's really looking pretty beat up here. But what I like is that Pinterest just reported earnings, right? And since it's been so beat up, it really hasn't gone anywhere. So I'm thinking that the reward versus the risk is greater to the top side. Like there's more of a chance that we have this run up than continue down, given the move that it's already made with the double gap downs and such. So for Pinterest, all that I'm looking for is for a break topside. There's a lot of indecision here. Since the earnings report, it was up, it was down, it was up, down, up, and then is kind of flatlined. So we're looking for a break of 47. All right, looking for a break of 47 for the move up. And look, we only need a $1 move here to hit our 2%. So from 47 to 48 would work fine. We'll see what kind of volume flows into this name. The big resistance overhead is going to be up here near $51, closer to the bottom side of this gap. But we'll have to see what kind of volume flows in. If we get a move like this, that's great, but I'd be happy with just a $1 move up to 48. So from 47 to 48, that's all that I'm really looking for on Pinterest, a continuation reversal idea off of the lows following the earnings report. All right. If you're just joining in, welcome in. I'm breaking down my top stock picks for tomorrow. I'm also talking about some charts that have potential for the rest of the week. And then I will be moving into taking charting requests. If you've missed the beginning part of the stream, that's fine. It's all recorded. It'll be uploaded here. As soon as we finish this stream, you can rewatch it from the beginning. All right, side charts. So that's it for the main charts, right? We've got Airbnb, Boeing, QCOM, and Pinterest. Now I'm going to talk about 4 side charts that offer potential, and I'll kind of explain to you why they're side charts. So the first one is going to be AMC. AMC is a side chart because it has earnings coming up, but I like the fact that it's range trading here between $39 and about $42 there. We've got like 3 days of consolidation here, without regard, to these two peaks here. All of this, the majority of this price action has been occurring between 39 and 42. So all that we are looking for is a break of 42 for maybe a hype run into the earnings report coming out tomorrow afternoon. All right, so very simple analysis there. You see this huge pattern, this big pennant pattern here on AMC. I don't think that we're going to get, I really wouldn't expect like a massive move on AMC, given that earnings is right around the corner, but it's also a meme stock and anything could happen. So for that reason, I'm thinking that earnings might be a little bit of a catalyst, could be a buy the rumor, sell the news type of thing. I'm definitely not looking to hold AMC through the earnings report. I'm just looking to play it if there's a lot of volume coming in or a lot of interesting price action coming in. Again, we're just going to be aiming for that 2% there, so it'll be a long idea over 42 with a price target of probably 43 or 44 in mind. You definitely have resistance up here near 44. Number 2 as a side chart is PFE. Will be PFE. All right, so this is a side chart because it's close to the $50 hold number. I want to see where this opens up at and then decide if I'm going to put this on the watch list or not. I do like it over $50. I'm not a big fan of it where it's at right now because I know that $50 overhead is going to be a resistance. But again, there's still that 2% profit margin that's available from 49 up to 50. So I want to see what this price action looks like tomorrow. If we break 49, I might be interested in taking the trade up to 50. But if it doesn't break 49 at all, or if it breaks and doesn't get a whole lot of volume and just kind of starts creeping up there, I might just wait for the break of 50 later on. All right, so PFE, just have your alerts set at $50. We'll revisit that one in the morning and see where it's opening up at and what the price action looks like. The third side chart for us will be Robinhood, Hood, H-O-O-D. So we caught this massive run up here. That was a lot of fun trading that. It was a break of this downtrend right here following the earnings gap down. Was holding support, and I was like, yeah, it's held it long enough. It might be time to break out topside, and that's exactly what we got here. But we haven't had hardly any movement since then. So 2 days of moving sideways, which is fine because it's not losing ground, but it's not necessarily gaining ground either. There's still a gap to be filled from 38 up to 39 on Robinhood. So what I'm looking for, I'm actually looking to play this early. I'm looking for a break of 37.5. I want to see this start to creep up higher and push into this gap for the gap fill. But I don't mind taking an aggressive early entry on this for that run. We're looking at a 4% profit margin there if it totally fills the gap. So it'll be a long idea over 37.5 for the run up to the gap and into the gap. The reason why this is a side chart is because, well, we don't have confirmation that it's going to do anything. I mean, the chart is down the stock is down for a reason, right? And so you always want to trade with the trend as much as possible. I'm adding this to the list because I think there's a chance that we could continue up, but I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, and if that's the case and it rejects, then at least it was just a side chart, so no harm, no foul on something like this. I'm not super interested in shorting this. I just want to see if there's going to be any more topside momentum. The next one is or will be INTC. So INTC is now into this massive gap right here on the daily chart time frame. What I don't like is that top wick, and that's why this one's a side chart. So it pushed into the gap, it closed into the gap, it's holding up support around 50.5, but that top wick coming down is a little bit intimidating. It's basically saying, yeah, the price of the stock was pushed up this far, but we're not going to let it stay up there, and they pulled it back down. So you see it is up after hours a little bit. I'm really only interested in a continuation gap fill on INTC, so it'll be a long idea, probably over 51.5 or 51.6, but it needs to open up here near those price points for that to be in play. Failure to hold 50.6 or 50.5 as a support means that it's rejecting the gap, and I'm not really interested in taking the trade on this anyways. So INTC, write it down, continuation gap fill idea over 51.6. And that's it for the side charts. So those were PFE, AMC, HOOD, and INTC. We're going to get into two charts here that have potential, and I really won't know if I'm going to add them to the watch list until tomorrow. Number one is Tesla. I'm sure that a lot of you have heard what's going on with Tesla. Basically, Elon Musk polled Twitter and asked them if he should sell 10% of his Tesla shares, and the poll results were yes. By, I think it was like 56% of people voted yes. He publicly said on Twitter that he was going to abide by the results of the poll. So he could potentially sell 10% of his shares tomorrow. And a lot of people are talking about taking short positions on Tesla. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case, because if the stock does fall, right, and if he does sell his shares, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a morning gap down, a pretty significant gap down at that. And if that's the case, investors might see that as a buying opportunity, as opposed to something that we should just continue to short. We saw what happened here, right? Where Tesla dropped $100 overnight, and then the next day was bought up, and then next thing you know, we're running back into all-time highs. So if this is the case, right, if we see like a drastic drop down like this, I don't know that I'm going to just jump right on the train there and continue to short Tesla if it comes down. It might be a buying opportunity. And maybe none of this even happens at all. Maybe Tesla doesn't gap down. I don't know. We're going to have to see what the price action or what the stock's price is in the morning. So Tesla has potential to make the watch list, but I have no idea. I won't know until the market opens up tomorrow. All right. So I just want to give all of you a heads up about that. The other one is AFRM. We've added this to the watch list before. I think we traded it into the all-time highs here, and it came right back down. So the analysis here hasn't really changed. We're still looking for the move into all-time highs, but I will only add this to the watch list if it opens up near 169. All right, so if it doesn't, there's no trade here. If it opens up down here, I'm really not even interested. Like if it flatlines and opens up at 164, I'm not going to put that on the list. But if it does open up near 169, AFRM will be one of my top watches for a run into all-time highs. It just makes massive moves. AFRM's got the potential to make some really big moves. And with earnings coming up, that could serve as a catalyst. It is the all-time highs, so theoretically the profit margin top side is unlimited. A lot of good things going for this setup here, but it has to open up near 169 to even have my interest at all. All right, so quick review of what we've got before I get into taking charting requests. Airbnb, Boeing, QCOM, Pinterest, all making the main chart watch list. All right, PFE, AMC, Hood, and INTC all making my side chart watch list. AFRM and Tesla both have potential to make the watch list, but it's really going to depend on where they open up at and what the price of the stock is. Cool? Cool. All right, let's get into taking some charting requests. You can type them up in the chat. If you're not subscribed to the channel, though, you are unable to comment. So subscribe to the channel, wait 1 minute, and you'll be able to post up some stocks there. Blue Vandal, first time here. Welcome in, welcome in. Yvonne's asking about swinging QCOM. No, so look, that's the one thing about my analysis. I don't analyze really more than for 1 day out. I think if you were going to swing QCOM, your better entry would have been at the break of the range way down here. Like when it closed over the 200 EMA, that might have been your time to enter on QCOM. I'm only all of this analysis that I'm doing it's strictly for day trades. I analyze for 1 day out, and then I'll come back tomorrow with some fresh setups. And I'll come back Wednesday or Tuesday with some fresh setups, and I rinse and repeat this stuff. So, I mean, if you're looking to swing trade something, make sure you're doing your own analysis there. Yvonne said mRNA had a double gap down from earnings. Yeah, this was a really fun stock to trade for quite some time. I mean, it was running, and yeah, double gap down. So I think the Pfizer news caused the initial gap down. I could be mistaken, and then earnings caused the gap down after that. I mean, if you're looking at the history, the price history of this stock, it kind of needed to have a double gap down. I'm not interested in trying to do what's called catching a falling knife in this area. Certainly there is potential here for a trade back up to the top side, but I would just be careful trying to time the reversal here. That's particularly difficult to do unless you start seeing some sort of green or some sort of trend line being broken, right? So like, for example, on Boeing, trying to buy down here is way more risky than like just waiting for this to pop and then waiting for this breakout to happen. So rather than us trying to buy down here, we just really waited till it got here, and we still got a solid trade out of it after we had confirmation. So for mRNA, I think what I would like to see is some sort of green or some sort of momentum or positive news for this to be taken long to the top side. But yeah, just be careful. If you trade with the overall trend, meaning like if you're on the front side of the trend and this is already moving up and you're going long on this on the way up, you increase your chances of being correct on the trade by the end of the day. Like you could have a really bad entry, let's say down here, but because the overall trend is up, there's still a chance that you're green by the end of the day. Whereas on this side of the trend, right, we're on the back side of this uptrend, so we're on the downtrend. If you buy and you're green for a little bit and you miss your sell, there's a chance that you're actually red by the end of the day. So trading with the overall trend does increase your chances of being correct. There's a lot of gaps here. We got a gap, gap, gap. This is actually, yeah, you're right. That is a double gap there. All the way from, what is that, 260, 261. And the 200 EMA is in there too. A lot of stuff going on with this chart. What order should you watch the videos in if you're just starting out? Shoot me a message about that and I'll help you out. David said Snap has been holding at support on the weekly chart around 53. What's my thoughts? So here's my thoughts on Snap. I'm not interested in it until it gets up to this gap area. And I know that that's missing a lot of profit there. 14% profit margin. So the safe thing to do would just be to buy shares of Snapchat at this level and just hold on until it reverses and pushes back up with the stop loss at 52. I could see that being a low risk swing trade, with the high reward, because from where it's at now, you've got 2% of risk down to the bottom side and 14% to the top side. Sure, I see that. But where I see more potential is on something like Pinterest. So because I see Pinterest already starting to move up, I'm more interested in taking a trade on Pinterest than I am on Snapchat. Right? That's why I specifically looked at this today, and I noticed that too. A lot of these social media stocks, they move, they're in the same sector, right? So they move similarly. So there is a chance that if Pinterest does start to move up, that Snapchat will follow suit. But because I'm interested in trading what I think will be the leader of that move, I'm not also going to put Snapchat on the same watch list, if that makes sense. If it comes down to personal preference for you, and you prefer to trade Snapchat over Pinterest and they are moving similarly, then by all means. But yeah, you see, I have my alerts set over here at 61 and 62. I'm going to wait on Snapchat for it to get to this gap before I take a trade on it. Check out LCID. Yeah, what about it? LCID. Looks like it's saving a lot of these bag holders right now, or might be saving a lot of these bag holders. Yeah, that looks good. There's a lot of volume here. This is a pennant pattern, right? And pennant pattern formed on lower volume, which is what you want to see, and then you got higher volume here with a higher high and a breakout move to the top side. Looks good. Looks good. You got to be careful trading something that's this volatile. From 36 up to 41, 16% in one day. That's huge. Be careful trading something that's that volatile. But yeah, that chart looks great. And what might even be more interesting is that over 42, I don't think there's any resistance here, really, up until 50. So, your profit margin looks pretty good there. Earnings is coming up, which, that might be the potential catalyst for this move happening in the first place. But nice, yeah, good pick. I like the pattern breakout here. So long as I was gonna say so long as the contracts look good, you could definitely add that to your list. But if something's moving 16% in one day, you don't even really need to trade the contracts. You could just trade the shares. Cool, good find. Who posted that? Darius. Yeah, great, well done, well done. That's exactly why we do these charting requests. Actually, I haven't looked at this today. Elon to sell shares. Also, Hertz has not signed the deal, it's rumored. Yeah, I'm just going to trade Tesla based on the price action. Trading off of news as a day trader, it doesn't really make sense. News is more so like a catalyst, like a reason for the stock to run. It's not something that I necessarily base my trades on. As an investor, yes, but as a day trader, no. Let's see, somebody asked me to look up PLBY. PLBY has earnings upcoming. 3 days, a couple of days of consolidation over 30. Yeah, it looks all right. I think the volume is pretty low here. Anytime that you're like watching, if you're looking at the 5-minute time frame, anytime you see gaps on the 5-minute time frame, it's kind of a sign that you have lower volume on the stock. So I don't know that I would day trade something like this, but maybe as a potential swing trade, just be mindful of earnings upcoming. Potential swing with a stop at 30. I would wait for, unless this volume picks up here, I don't think I would be taking a day trade on this. But it was, we were trading it back in these days when that volume was pretty big. But I mean, since then it's died off pretty much. But yeah, it does look good from a technical standpoint. Like breaking the 200 EMA, rejecting at 30, holding the 200 EMA, breaking 30. I mean, it looks good, right? But yeah, just be careful if you're trying to day trade something with lower volume like that. DWAC, DWAC. Man, I don't know about this one. That was a crazy run right there. We actually, I think we saw it on this day right here. I day traded this on this day right before close. I think there was a pennant pattern that had shaped up right here, and somebody in my server called it out, and I wound up taking the trade. And I made it was very insignificant because the trade, the pennant pattern broke out and then pulled back, and so I just closed pretty close to break even. I think I made $69 on it or something. But yeah, and then this crazy move happened all the way up to the top side. I was actually looking for a reversal on this at some point, but it didn't. It never really reversed. It pulled back slightly and then has kind of, since just dwindled out. Look at the volume dying out on it too. I don't think I would touch it from here. Maybe if it gets over 70 or 75 or 80, yes, but that was too fast of a run too soon, and historically there's nothing here to really compare this to. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this continue to fall. Google. All right, let's see what's going on here. I would only trade Google if it were continuing to make new all-time highs. What hurts is going back to this max available chart time frame and thinking that it was overvalued here when it was trading at $1,000, and then to see it triple, that's pretty wild, right? Yeah, that always hurts to see. But from a day trader, from a day trading perspective, yeah, I wouldn't trade it until it gets over maybe until it breaks this 3,006.5. It's fairly easy analysis when you have stocks that are trading at the all-time highs, because all that you are really looking for is a new all-time high to be made. Either you're going to get that all-time high or you're not. And a lot of traders, I think, are taught in the beginning of their trading careers, buy low, sell high. Why would you ever buy when it's at the all-time highs? Well, because that's actually a bullish sign. If it's making new all-time highs, oftentimes that's when you'll see big volume coming in, and you'll get a pretty large pop move. And even if that pop move only lasts for 5 minutes, that's enough to make some decent profits on. I mean, we literally did that with AFRM last week, right? We saw this consolidation. I've been watching this, and the moment that this broke right here, we were able to take that dip entry for the pop move up. It was 5 or 10 minutes there, and that was it. That's all we needed to make some pretty solid gains on it. So yeah, for Goog, I would wait until it gets over the all-time highs. With the market where it's at right now, I mean, I don't want to be the person that says, yeah, the market's overextended and it's going to pull back or should pull back. Because I think a lot of traders are kind of thinking that right now, and that's probably, in all honesty, that's probably the reason why it keeps pushing, just to prove everybody wrong, right? I don't want to say that it's going to pull back, but if it does, we might see a lot of these like larger tech names, the FANG stocks, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, all of them have had a pretty decent run up, and they might pull back with the overall market, or they might pull back in general, causing the overall market to come down. Yeah, I mean, ES, it feels overdone at this point, but we'll have to see. If this continues to make new highs, hey, ride the trend up, right? The trend is absolutely your friend. All right, somebody's asking about Facebook. Let's go over it. I liked Facebook. I actually told the server, I told the team, we're taking a swing position on Facebook right after it announced the name change. Officially announced the name change. I'm pretty sure that has been news for some time, but it wasn't officially announced until, I believe, after earnings, and I think it was on this day right here, maybe this one. This is right around where we took our swing position on this for our add into our long-term portfolio for this little run up. I feel a lot like Facebook should pull back or will pull back with the overall market if that's the case. It's had a pretty decent run up here, like reclaiming the 200, reclaiming the 50, actually gapping up at one point, but I'm not really interested in taking a trade on Facebook at this point until it gets up and over $350. All right, so I'm going to wait on Facebook to press 350 once more before I add it back to the watch list. If you want an earlier entry, you can maybe wait for a break of like 346 or 347, but you'd be limited there on profit margin because 350 is definitely a likely resistance point. So you've got less than a 1% profit margin there. I think I'm just going to wait. Thoughts on snap reversal? Yeah, so I've actually already broken that one down. If you missed that part of the live stream, just go back and rewatch this stream once we end and check out what I said there. Somebody asked about HUT. H-U-T. HUT 8 mining core. Is this like, I don't know what this is. So is this like a Bitcoin thing? Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about it. But this seems to be the all-time highs. So again, just like Google, I mean, just set alerts at all-time highs. If you get a break of that, there's a potential trade there. Earnings is coming up too, which, maybe that could be a catalyst for this name. But yeah, maybe just set your alerts at 16. NVIDIA, yeah, good one. So NVIDIA has had a wild run all the way up. And yeah, it's definitely NVIDIA and AMD both. They got to pull back some. Before I put this back on the watch list, they've got to cool off. I'd like to see this pull back down to honestly, I'd like to see it retrace all the way back down to 270. I don't know if it's going to do that right away. It might do something where it pulls back, gets bought up, pulls back, gets, but yeah, I'd like to see this pull back some before pushing any further because this run right here has been, it's been awesome. We've been trading it, but it's been wild. That's a big move there. So yes, NVIDIA, I would think, has to cool off some before I personally want to touch that one again. Somebody's asking about Starbucks. So Starbucks has a little bit of a gap here overhead. I don't think that I'd like that though as a gap fill play. So normally gaps are something that I look for as a possible trade, but the percentage here, your profit margin percentage is less than 1%. You're looking at 0.8%, which means that that's not really worth it for me. So what's true about gaps is not only is the bottom side of the gap, this is the original gap, not only is the bottom side of the gap potential support and resistance, but the top side also is potential support and resistance. So this means that if Starbucks were to continue to push, you're looking at less than 1% profit margin there before hitting resistance. Given the move that Starbucks has already made on the way up, I would think that it rejects there rather than continues to push. So set an alert maybe at 118.5 and just wait for the break. Somebody asked thoughts on PayPal reversal. So I don't know. With earnings, I mean earnings coming up literally tomorrow. I don't know if that's going to reverse tomorrow. It could, but I would say, and this is going to be my plan as well, just wait until after the earnings report. Then you'll know if there's going to be a reversal or not, right? Like, why waste time trying to think about if there's going to be a reversal or not when we can just wait for earnings to tell us and then trade it on Tuesday. So if there is a reversal on PayPal and it pushes back up, you'll likely have a gap up. And then you can look to trade it from there, either for a continuation or for a gap fill back down. Thoughts on SoFi? Let's see here. We talked about this, I believe, in our last stream, and I talked about it breaking. I think I was talking about it here because I drew this downward trend line, and I wouldn't have drawn that if this area wasn't relevant. So yeah, it broke over, right? So it's seemingly breaking the downtrend. But the one thing about patterns and these dynamic levels of support and resistance is that they can really be subjective. So, I mean, that could look, I can make that look like that if I wanted to, or pull this, right, pull that down to look like that to say, oh yeah, well, it's not truly breaking yet. So you won't know. You won't know until you get a break of these highs that this is continuing up. But man, what a run. Your trade was definitely on this day here. I would say set alerts at 20, at these highs here, 23.6, and just wait. That would have worked out really nicely here, right? Like if you see this curling at 21, just set your alerts at 21, boom, you got the break of 21, there's your trade. So I'd do the same thing here. Set your alerts at the most recent high and just wait it out. All right, somebody mentioned car. Oh yeah, this is that one that had that crazy run, huh? What was the consolidated around 300 3 days ago, had a huge run up, possible gap fill to back to 310, and then that run back up. I don't see a gap fill here. I don't see a gap here on the daily chart at all. Whew, what a move. Holy cow. Yeah, well, oftentimes, like, when you get big moves like this and then people miss out on them, they try to run it back up for a second time. Now, we saw it. I mean, you saw it with AMC, right? We've seen it multiple times with AMC. Big run up here. This was like the first pop move. Big run up there, and then pulled back, and then another run up, pull back. Then we got a massive run, pull back, big run, pull back, right? So I don't think that car is done. I think that, I mean, if the volatility stays in this name, that could be a lot of fun back up to the top side. But at this point, it's kind of expensive. Be careful trading something like that. But yeah, I mean, if it puts in higher highs, I mean, you could just wait for a break of like 311 or something, and who knows where this thing will go. Yeah. Gotta hold, I would say, like, it has to hold these lows. You don't want to see it back below those lows. I'm actually going to set an alert on this. This has not been something that I charted previously. All right, somebody mentioned Disney. Any thoughts on Disney? No, not really. Not with earnings coming up. So Disney was one of the names that was kind of running like AAL and kind of running with Boeing as well. I believe it was off of the PFE, right? It was off that PFE news that came out. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with all of those and if they follow through. But yeah, I would wait. I think I'm going to wait for Disney's earnings to be reported before taking a trade there. Thoughts on AA? Steel infrastructure play. So AA has a gap here. This is also a range. So your range is going to be support around 45, resistance around 48. You haven't had a daily candle close outside of 48 or below 45. There was this gap, but it got partially filled by that wick. So I'd look for a break of 48.5 or 49 for the move to the top side. Ranges are something that I really like to play because you have a lot of traders that will be shorting at this resistance, right? So when like AA hits this resistance line up here, short position, short position, short position, all the way across. So the longer that something range trades for the more traders that you have kind of piling in on this. And when it does break out, or if it does break out, then you've got traders adding to the breakout position. You've got traders that were sitting on the sidelines, jumping into the position for the first time, and you've got all these shorts covering, buying back their shares. So but range trades are a lot of fun. I would look for and that's how you get squeezes too. I would look for a break of these highs, probably that wick, just to be on the safe side, 48.6. I don't know anything about this one though. Like, I don't know if the contracts look good or what, but a lot of these stocks that some of you are calling out are, I feel like their contracts might not look good. Like, we're an options day trading group, and there's a very specific criteria that I look for when trading options. And it's usually the spread. That's the main thing that I'm focused on. So if these stocks have a wide spread, from an options day trading perspective, like, I'm not even touching it. I don't care how good the setup is. If it has a whack spread, that's not for me. That's too risky. Too risky. Roku, been on a downtrend. This stock looks weak. It looks weak. Don't try to time the reversal. I would just, honestly, I would just be bearish on this. I would just short it underneath each recent low. That's how I would trade Roku. Remember to trade with the trend. mRNA, we've already talked about that one. If you missed the stream, just rewatch it after I end here. It's all recorded. STLD, I don't see anything here from a technical standpoint that's telling me that this has a trade available. What I do see is higher lows and lower highs being pushed together right there. So when you get a breakout, if you get a breakout and you get higher highs put in, then you have a possible trade. So maybe set alerts at 68 there. Car was an earnings play. Yeah, I saw that. That was the move there. Thoughts on IWM? Yeah, so this is a range break. So just like we literally just talked about a range. That is a range break to the top side. So then your old resistance, let's just say to make it easy, old resistance was at 230. So now your old resistance should become new support. So on any sort of pullback for IWM, 230 should validate as a support there. All right, I'm going to do one more and then we'll call it an afternoon here. XPEV, somebody said has a nice pennant pattern shaping up. Yeah, that's true, right? So lower highs and then higher lows. Though at this point, I mean, that's a big red candle there. So if this doesn't reverse exactly where it's at, you're probably looking at a breakdown. I would assume that if Tesla does gap down, and with it being in the EV sector as well, XPEV being EV, I would think that if Tesla comes down tomorrow, you might see other stocks follow suit that are in the EV sector. So for XPEV, yeah, I mean, if it makes a new recent low, literally a low lower than this right here, that's it. It's probably breaking down from that pennant. So that looks more like it's going to break down at this point rather than break out. But who knows? Maybe this gets bought up and trades closer to 48. All right, I will call it an afternoon here. Thank you all for attending the stream. If you missed out, it's recorded. Just go rewatch it from the beginning. A lot of you were calling out stocks we've kind of already went over. So it's all recorded, and it'll be available to you for the next 24 hours. Just click play right after we end the stream. Good luck this week. If you're not in the Discord server, it's closed. It's officially closed down. So I do reopen it for limited spots once a week. I've been doing once a week. I might move that to once every 2 weeks. It really depends on our new members that we have and how quickly they get caught up with how the system operates within the Discord server. But I will let you all know. Whenever I'm accepting new members, I will be putting it out in the announcements channel. So you could just join the Discord through the link in the description and just patiently wait for the announcement to come out. All right. Thank you all for your time. Thanks for being here. Thanks for the call outs. And I will see you in chat tomorrow. Take care.